to the Smarty and Rutch.
Yeah.
Almost, boys. Almost. You gotta be quick on my watch. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, loads and loads talked about. Thank you ever so much, the three of you, for giving up your Thursday evenings to come on and talk about the club that we apparently all love. I mean, we still love them. We still love the club, don't we? I mean, we don't have to love everybody and anything to do with the club, but I'm sure there's plenty. Sorry, Jay?
Most of it. We love most of it.
Most of it. Plenty to get into. But it is actually, believe it or not, boys, Series 5, Episode bloody 1. So it's our fifth series. So we've been together 4 and a bit years now.
Still here.
Or 3 and a bit years. This is our fourth full year, isn't it?
This is episode 2. We did one last week.
Episode 1, don't start.
We did one
episode
last week.
1. No, because that was the last
pre-season. That's pre-season. Anyway.
Okay, even though we did a build-up and predictions and all that.
Yes.
Correct. We're all right asking you, Karl. If we're asking you, we'd still be on episode 3 from season 1. So I mean, I don't know what you're getting at, but loads and loads to talk about. Let's run a bit of an intro and we'll get into it.
Hi, this is Don Matteo, and you are listening to the Ought to Know Better podcast. Let's do this.
You look like fucking Brolin, you're a Leeds eating bastard.
Look like some sort of fucking weird floating head. No.
You Tentle played a bit, innit?
I mean, I feel a bit right, dickhead.
Nothing spectacular, really.
Never has that last sentence been more appropriate, I don't think. I'm not going to repeat it because it does my tinting, if I'm quite honest, listening to Jay say that the last thing before we start every week. I know Gilly has been working on a replacement, but he hates the outro more, so I'm sure that'll come first. We do all have full-time jobs. You know, we don't get paid to do this, or if we do, it's like pennies. So much so that Jay has to get his hair cut like that. That's how much we get paid.
Absolutely.
Just give us a little turn to the side, Jay. Give us a little twirl. Oh, what is that?
Someone's got to lead the way, boys.
What is that?
Oh, Jay, did you lose a bet and get a free haircut at the same time?
Absolutely not, mate. Absolutely not.
Yeah, look, I'm not really in a position to talk. The head on me half the time is fucking ridiculous anyway. Like.
I'm not bothered about what two baldies think.
I'd rather be a baldy.
No, I wouldn't.
Nah.
That's the sad truth.
No way.
Oh, I'd rather be a baldy.
That's why you're wearing that permanently.
We'll start with this. This is a hat from our friends at On Your Head, Bruv. And they did this hat for me. We've also actually got one to give away that they've donated. So I'm going to do a tweet in a little while, probably after the pod tonight. And you get an opportunity to win one of these. They're actually quite nice. They've got the special symbol on there as well. Can you see that?
Nice. It's a nice hat.
Yeah.
Nice that, yeah.
Smiley. So, lovely hats. I can take it off now, though, because it doesn't fit over my headphones, but we're looking a bit stupid. But yeah, we'll have a tweet out a bit later. It'll be something simple like follow On Your Head, bruv, follow us, and retweet, something along them lines. And maybe tag your best friend, neighbour's goldfish, something like that. But right, let's talk a bit about football, seeing as we're here. Let's start with, the lesser of two evils, I think, and we'll start with last night's game. We're going to do a little bit of a Baradian Cup because we don't tend to do one as planned after a cup game, but we don't have to do one again this season for the League Cup. So who gives a shit?
That's true.
We'll start with you, Gilly. First thoughts, mate, walking out of Ellen. Did you go last night?
I did, mate, yeah. Cheese wedge massive. Hey, do you know, at half-time, I felt all right. All right. Nothing spectacular, as Jay says. But just, I didn't feel worried at that point. You know, I didn't know what was to come in the second half. I didn't know what was to come just before midnight from David Ornstein. We had no idea. We were innocent babies at this point. It felt all right. There were a good atmosphere in the concourse. There were a lot of families and a lot of season ticket holders not there, clearly, in the cheese, because there were people sat down and all sorts. And, it's not great. But ultimately, it were for a cup game, 35,000 people. We're all right. There were no major concerns. They didn't have much. They didn't look very dangerous. Neither did we. but it were all right. And to say that we'd made so many changes, it were okay. Middle of the road.
Yeah. I mean, I tend to agree. I think the first 20 minutes, half an hour, it felt very much like the start of the Portsmouth game. We dominated the majority of the ball, played some nice stuff, and could have taken. I mean, we only had one shot on target all game, so I'm not going to say we could have had 2 or 3 goals because that'd have been stupid. But the way we dominated, we played some nice stuff. I actually thought, and this is going to be, I'm going to contradict myself a little bit later. I thought Joffrey and Aronson started really well in their roles. Obviously, what happened after that 25-30 minutes happened. But Karl, were you there last night? Or did you give it a swerve?
I swerved it. I didn't bother in the end.
Yeah. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did watch it at home. All right, yeah. I thought first. I think I looked at the clock and it was like 17 minutes, and Boro had started to come into it a bit, and I kind of got that sinking feeling like I did on Saturday. I turned to one of my mates and I was like, geez, we're all over them here. This is very, it's very similar to how we were last season, and we're just not converting the chances. And I don't know what's going to happen now, but I think overall, we looked a bit of a shambles at the back when we changed it up. I think not having Ampadu in midfield and having him drop into a back three is leaving space. There's various elements of it that I thought were all right, but then there seemed to be far more that I didn't really agree with, and I thought were absolute dog shit, really. I thought the decision to play Joffrey on the left was that's a brain dead decision, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. I thought he did all right considering he's not a winger, but to me that's a brain dead decision. You don't put him on the right there. It was ridiculous. That was kind of, I don't know, I think it was asking for trouble. But anyway, yeah, that's where I'm at the moment with the first half.
That's your post game analysis then, is it? Is that you just felt Joffrey was in the wrong position and everything else was shit?
Well, no, it's not that. Well, basically, yeah, I think you play Joffrey down the middle. Fuck it, you don't play him out wide. He's never been a winger, and he's never going to be a winger, and he's more dangerous down the middle. Play him down the middle. Put him in the midfield as an 8. Fuck it, Don't do what you did with it, But I don't know. We lack creativity. The movement ahead of the ball was just not great. In fact, I think I put a tweet out saying it was nearly non-existent. We were kind of looking at the last 11 games after the international break last season a bit, where there was just no creativity going forward. We didn't have that out ball of give it to Cree and see what he does. I just think we've lost the spark at the moment, but I think, he's got a tough old ask on Saturday morning, tough ask.
Well, I mean, we'll come to that a little bit later. But
of course,
Jade, with the news, then obviously the inevitable that we're going to speak about in a moment is Jorginho, Rutter, and transfers and things. But based on that performance last night, do you think that the news about?
Okay. Sorry, I was just popping up the momentum. Sorry, I didn't mean to click to show it. I was just loading into.
I thought we were loading an Amstrad up. Jade, with the news, obviously that the team and the squad and Rutter and everybody knew before kickoff. Do you think that affected the morale? Do you think that's an excuse?
I think it has to affect it, surely. Another one of your mates is leaving, and somebody who's pretty much like the life and soul of the party in the dressing room, by all accounts. So how do you replace all that? Not just what he is to us on the pitch, but off it as well. We're not going to get a player like him, and it just feels like another nail in the coffin right now. And I don't see why the players would see it any other way either. Surely anybody who's got half a chance of getting out of there is currently talking to their agent and finding out what's what, because why would you want to be involved in what currently appears to be a sinking ship? There's just nothing happening. There's no progress. We seem to have just hit the iceberg, and we're just kind of floundering.
Oh, so your comparison is to that of the Titanic, is that right?
Kind of, yeah, but not like that Gammon person's comparison to the Titanic that I saw on Twitter last week. that sank because it had too many people on. And that's what's happened to
I
Britain.
did see that old woman.
I missed that.
That were fantastic.
So yeah, I mean, in summary, not a lot of positives, if any, to take out of that. I think I was on with Joe straight after for the match reaction or whatever, and I think I was the only one out of, I think there was 6 of us on to find any positives, and that is, it's quite
shocked.
clear that it's quite. No, I struggled, but I managed to find one, and that is that our owners have to see that we have some massive gaps in the squad. Massive.
But do they care?
Yeah, but they've created those gaps as well.
Do they care, or are they cashing out and fucking off?
Well, let me ask you this then. Before we get into it all, let me ask you this: why would they want us to fail? Why? What financial benefit?
No.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish the question.
Yeah.
Why? What is the benefit? What is their opus? Whatever you call it, OM is it? Opus memorandi or whatever it is. I don't speak much Greek.
Modus operandi.
Modus operandi. MO, that's it. Yeah. So what's the money that they can make is for us to be in the Premier League, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
The players we've sold, the players we've sold have all had release clauses, correct?
Yeah.
Also we're told.
Yeah,
I like this.
We were also.
Hold on. I need to say my point once he's finished.
Correct? Are we all in agreement that they've all now had these release clauses?
Yeah.
Okay. It is in their best interest, therefore, to give us the best chance to get promoted into the Premier League, regardless of, I mean, whether you like them, whether you dislike them, or what.
Yeah.
That is their holy grail. That's the goal that they want to get us to there. They make it sustainable. They want to build this bigger stadium, and then they want to flog us because they'll make a lot more money than selling a Somerville, selling an Archibald, because they're not going to be here next year. We're not going to be able to do that again next year.
Yeah, of course.
So come on then, Karl, hit me.
How did they create it? Right. Obviously, the release clauses aren't their fault. Mind you, they were there for the negotiation of Rutter's contract. So let's. The way I'm saying it is they've created this by not bringing in players quicker when they're letting players of the caliber that we've let go. They've created this hole in the squad where we got a performance last night. They've inadvertently created it by not fucking signing players once players are going out the door. That's what I mean by they've created the hole in the squad at the moment. Not that the players going out were their fault. That's what I meant by creating the hole in the squad. They haven't replaced anyone really that's gone out bar Kamara.
Okay.
They brought in Bogle.
Interesting. And I actually think we do miss Kamara, which is absolutely bonkers because I didn't think he brought all that much, but he pressed really well. When you look back now, he would have actually been really positive last night and at the weekend.
I said, we're going to miss him. Not only did he press well, but he very rarely gave the ball away. Now, he was too negative. Nobody argues that. But the way that the ball was coming back at us last night, if he'd have been in that midfield, it wouldn't have come back in that same way.
Agreed.
And there would have been another option to take the ball. I think, to your question, Luke, I think benefit. The only reason that they're involved in this club as an investment group is investment, and that is just to make money. So what I see at the moment, and we might get into it in a little bit more detail in time, but what I see at the moment is an operation that is looking after itself first and protecting the asset that is the club, not various different assets and not looking at assets and not looking at the potentials and so on, but protecting the asset. If you can get that club to zero debt and sell it, then they'll flip it on the basis that they'll sell it for more than they bought it for. So they've protected their investment. If they can then, and this is not me saying I think this is what's happening, this is me playing devil's advocate somewhat.
Can they sell, quickly, let me just interrupt really quickly. Can they sell it for more with less saleable assets?
Well, that depends on what they've already talked to Red Bull about.
Well, yeah, good point.
Because they're already part of the shareholder group, so they'll be involved in conversations that are ongoing. They're not on the board, but they'll be involved in conversations and whatever else. So this might be something that they've already said, you know what, we called it a 2-year deal. We called it 2 years to try and get up, but really what we really did was we spun it all on the first year, and we're going to protect our investment now. And things can change over time. Red Bull might have gone, do you know what? We want to be more aggressive. We thought you were going to get us promoted in first year and you haven't. So, or we thought you were going to get yourselves promoted in the first year, you haven't. And therefore, actually, we want to crack it and we think we're going to be better at it. So, shit or get off the pot, right? You didn't shit, so get off the pot. Let us have a crack. We're going to be more aggressive in our timeline. We want to take over earlier. So, clear down the debts and get out of the way. There's all sorts of ways.
So let me get this straight. How you think it could be working is that we're going to play for mid-table mediocrity this year, be taken over by Red Bull at the end of the season, and they're going to go for it next year.
They might have an intent of doing better than that and whatever else. We don't know what's going to happen between now and the end of the transfer window, which is something that I am bored of hearing about on Twitter because there's been all sorts of time to act and they haven't. There may be an intent for them to do better, but what you don't do is replace the litany of people that's gone with people the same caliber. You can't buy a Somerville, you can't buy a Rutter, not at the level that we're at, not without spending £100 million. And what sort of £100 million player comes to the Championship? They don't do it. And I'm not saying either of them or both of them together are £100 million worth of player. I'm just saying nobody even starts talking about that deal unless you're paying well over the odds. There's no value in a deal like that. So you're now left with your also-rans. You're looking at the players that we've already been linked with. You're looking at Smodics, who's had one very, very good season, but one good season and doesn't necessarily fit our squad profile, the profile of player that we want. You're looking at Rowe, which I think Rowe's a competent player at this level. Somerville is not. Rutter is not. We're talking about a goal machine and an assist machine. 52 goal involvements between the pair of them, I think it was, in one season. That's massively significant to try to achieve. So they may have an intent of doing something in the market. I'm not confident that even if they want to, that they've got the capability of it, but they may have that intent. What their clear intent could well be is just to clear down all of the debts. So we saw £190 million, whatever gets quoted and thrown around and all of that sort of stuff. You've got your parachute payments of 55% and 45% of whatever the TV income out of the Premier League for years 1 and year 2, and then it really ramps down in year 3. So you consolidate all of that money together and you clear down all of the debts, and you're in a very saleable position. They paid, 130 million? If Red Bull have already said, you know what, we'll give you 200 million if you clear down all the debts and we can take it on.
They paid 170 million, plus they already own a decent percentage before that, but that they bought from Radley Downey. So they paid 170 million for the remaining part of the.
Yeah, but the actual numbers don't matter as long as the delta between what they paid and what somebody's willing to pay for it is enough for their investors to be happy, is the point I was making.
Yeah,
it's relevant what they paid as long as what they sell it for is to their benefit as an investment group.
So say we're not being speculative. I think Smarty's hit the nail on the head here, and it's very, very rarely right. So I don't. It's probably wrong. They would make a quick buck at best if they stripped the club of its assets and sold to Red Bull Leeds. They're better off selling in the Prem by an absolute mile, which makes sense, doesn't it, to everybody? Club probably, if we get to the Premier League, almost probably doubles in value, doesn't it?
Yeah,
players. Your players increase in value because they're better players, and the club's just worth absolute mint in comparison. So yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, I think I do agree with Smarty. I think we've just been quite unlucky in terms of the transfers and these particular contracts. One of the things I questioned about Rutter's contract with LUFC Trust, they released a statement saying that this clause expired at midnight on the 14th, which I was like, this sounds fishy as fuck. Like, why would it expire on a Wednesday night at midnight? Like, it's not like Cinderella going to a ball type shit, is it? It's not a random date. But apparently, this is to protect ourselves. So if somebody came in, we've still got 2 and a bit weeks towards the end of the window. So that's positive.
I saw a rumor thing that said it's also exactly 6 months from the signing date. So it might not be completely random. It's just 6 months from the point at which they initially signed him, plus a year, because it was the 14th of January. I mean, that might just be coincidence. The fact it's the same day in a different month.
Right.
But
We got away with
exactly
it.
a year and a half afterwards, exactly 18 months afterwards, could have been a timeline that they discussed as part of the contract. We won't know. And to be honest, we probably never will know why it was specifically that date, but that is what's been said.
You're probably right, Gilly, as
who
well. Like,
told them?
but the other thing is as well, like, who would have fucking bought him last year and triggered that clause? Like, the last summer, he wasn't worth that. No one would have paid that. And we were sitting there going, we've just paid 35 odd million. But this summer, they're very much going, he's probably worth that now.
On it. I think
it was 28 to 35
add-ons.
Yeah, many moving bits. We had 25, we had 20 after the fact, 25, 28, 29, with the potential of it eventually being 35, which probably was linked with staying in the Premier League in the first place, which we didn't do. So he's not going to achieve it all. But again, that's one of those things that we'll probably never know what the intricacies of that deal were. But yet we paid a significant amount of money, and a very, very well-run club. I think, regardless of what you think about Brighton, they're a very, very well-run club. Tony Bloom knows what he's doing. It's not just going to be a speculative roll of the dice, is it? They identify the players that they want in the mold that they want, with the ceiling that they're looking for, and bring them in. And you look at their track record in the transfer market; it's absolutely amazing. So they're going to expect either he's going to be with them a long time, or they're going to make big money off him. And they've spent a lot of money on him, so they clearly see that he's got the potential. And I'm eating my words somewhat, because I didn't think he was worth anything like what we paid for him when he came into our side. Nothing.
Here's a question. Here's a question. I'll come round the house. I'll start with you, Jay.
Okay.
Because somebody asked me this question. I thought it was a great way of looking at it. They said, if you had 35 million to spend now, would you rebuy Rutter?
Well, I answered this on Twitter, and I said, I kind of want to, but it's hard to justify paying more than what Somerville was sold for anybody.
Yeah, I know the circumstances were very different, because we're in the Premier League, we're earning a lot more money, and we weren't, but the fact, and we're always going to look at it with a certain bias, because we're in the Championship now and want to get out of the Championship, but 35 million buys you a hell of a lot of quality in the Championship compared to what he does in the Premier League, and we bought him because of his potential. So yeah, I mean, the question is, if you had 35 million quid, would you rebuy Rutter now?
I'm not sure. I'm just not sure.
Just need a yes or no, mate. That's all.
Fuck it, I'll say yeah, because you said now, as in like with no other players, with everyone that's left. So fuck it, yeah, I'm gonna go yeah, because we need him. Fuck it, the money don't matter.
So sorry, I should add a little asterisk in here and say that the 35 million gets spent. So it's either spent on Rutter, or you could spend it on whoever else. It has to be spent. It's not selling Rutter and not reinvesting the money. It's the money gets spent.
Okay, well, 40 million, isn't it? Although there'll be some sort of sell-on clause or something, I would imagine, from Hoffenheim. But yeah, say 35 million. You can, if you could spend that and you could cut that in half and buy two top quality young players, then yeah, fuck it, I'd take the two players over him.
Karl?
Yeah, if we were going to buy the Rutter that we've just sold and it was 35 million, bringing him into a team, then yeah. But again, what Jay said, if you've got that kind of money to spend on two players, that you get Rowe and you get someone else for that. Like, so
I'm upset about this Rowe business anyway. So
we'll get into that.
If they were serious, just fucking pay the extra couple of million. Anyway,
this is yeah. Sorry,
Gilly, what's your thoughts if you had 35 million?
Not on your life. Now, I need to address the Smarty lie, because last season only just finished. And I ate my words on Rutter enough times for him to stop lying about it. I ate it the season before, when we needed a 9 to score.
The audio listeners.
Gilly hated Rutter last season too, the sneaky onion head. I don't know why he's calling Rutter an onion head.
He's not calling Rutter.
But no, I ate my words enough, having seen him in the Premier League, to address that. No, not on your life. Absolutely not. When you can pretty much buy half of the team as we need right now at this level for that amount of money, I think you'd have to be absolutely mad to spend that on one player in the position that we're in right now.
The player we should have bought was the Swedish lad
that went to Porto from Coventry.
Yeah.
I
forgot his name. Gyökeres. That's the player we should have bought at the time. That's who we needed. But
whether it were ever on the cards, we were linked, but whether it were ever truly on the cards or not, you are right. And it was, Hamer was there at the time as well, and there were other players that were available. Gyökeres was
right,
the one.
We signed the right winger, somebody who'd never played up front before, and then we never played him on the right winger, and he played side up front, and then we tried to turn him into a 10, and we made £5 million on him. Hey, happy days.
What did your man from Coventry go for? Like, he went for a big sum in the end, didn't he?
18, or was it 22?
Yeah.
He wanted
somewhere around there. It wasn't loads. No,
he's worth 3 or 4 times that now.
Jesus, yeah.
Well, there's talk of him going 70 to is it Chelsea?
Jesus,
70 million.
Basket case anyway.
That's some trajectory. That
the amount going to Chelsea.
Yeah. Gilly, you mentioned a couple of times there about the amount of goals and assists we've lost specifically this season. Johnny Cooper posted earlier about. Here we go. 56% of the goals we've scored since Daniel Farke took over have either been scored or assisted by players no longer at the club. Now, I'm assuming that means assuming Rutter's gone. I mean, Farke said as much in his interview, but assuming Farke's gone, that means we've lost over half of all this. Sorry, not Farke. Rutter's gone.
The exclusive. Luke drops exclusive.
No,
better.
No, don't be saying that. I'll be hung, drawn, and quartered even more so on Twitter than I've been on the last couple of weeks. It's one of them, and it's we're never going to replace that quality. We're never going to get these people that are going to come straight in and do a job and learn the style, if there is a style. And it's just it feels a bit messy at the moment, doesn't it?
It does. It really does.
And not Lionel.
No. Yeah, not Lionel. And but although you get him for 35 million,
you probably get it for nothing now. Just pay his wages of like 10 million a week or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, I mean, moving on to transfers. Then first, actually, just before you go, sad to see Rutter go. I certainly am, because I think he's, since Rafinha has probably brought that little bit more of excitement. You just never knew what he was going to do with the ball. Seeing him being a bit of the new Alioski in and around the changing rooms as well, that a bit of a joker. I certainly will miss Rutter, but look, it's one of them. Players come and go, don't they? We'll always have Leeds United, but we'll let players, managers, everyone else we can give a take. But sad to see him go. All of us.
I'm fuming. So Scooby
100%
said in the comments here. So let's get it right. You were all pissed about Somerville, but couldn't really give 2 fucks about Arch or Jorginho. Let's just say I'm of the opposite opinion. Absolutely read the room completely wrong.
Oh no,
I don't know if anyone feels that way about
it.
Absolutely livid. I am
this is
fuming.
This is the thing that's finally pushed me to fuck it. It's fucked. It's all fucked. Know what's happening this season?
Yeah.
Mid-table. This lot of fucking blown it. I love that guy.
Yeah.
And he's fucking here telling me that I don't. Get out, Scooby. Get out.
Come here,
we
lads.
were all fuming about Archie in the first place anyway.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now,
I said
there might be an acceptance.
Like he's fucking over on Twitter.
There might be an acceptance piece of we've already lost players that we were desperate to keep, and therefore it's just happening again and again and again. There's only so many times you can get shot and get back up, and get shot again and get back up again. But
Exactly.
No, I'm absolutely wrong. I am fuming about this. I am pissed. But
yeah,
we also have to face up to the fact that we can do sod all about the fact it's happening.
Can I just a random question, lads? Right, we have to sell all these players to make
How
up.
long will it take you?
About 2 seconds, man. Where the hell is the rest of the Rafinha money? Like, have we got hiding our hair, or where the fuck that's gone? Like, because I haven't heard anything. Like,
so if Rutter goes for 40 million, over the past 3 windows, so since the RAF and KP window, we will have sold around £250 million worth of players.
Yeah.
£250 million worth.
Insane.
Almost.
Yeah.
Now, I know we had some debts. Look, even if that was at 190 million, let's, for argument's sake, say it was, we have still got 60 million that we haven't spent. I know we've bought Rodon and we've bought Bogle and a couple of other bits and bobs in between, but ultimately we should be the richest club. We should have fucking loads of money. We should, I used the simile earlier that Leeds United are that guy who walks around in a Rolex in a rented flash car that he pays on finance and never buys a fucking drink. Never buys a drink. Goes to the toilet when it's his go. That's how I feel at the minute. We've got all this fucking money, but if we have got all this money, are we there for? Is Gilly right? Are they asset stripping to put us in a position where we're nil on the balance sheet, which is great for an investor because you don't have any debts to pick up, and then actually we flog it for even if they sort of flog the club for 10, 15 million pounds over what they paid. 10, 15 million quid's a lot of money for a year's work.
Yeah, it is.
It's a return on your investment anyway.
So yeah, I mean, we could probably speculate and make up arguments for each side all night. Let's get into a bit of a chat about some other transfers then, because I think since we've seen that Rutter is almost nailed on to go, we've seen that Fulham are heavily linked with Pascal Struijk as well. I wish it was Wober they were linked with, but yeah, I've seen it in a couple of places. I can't remember where it started. I haven't managed to find a source for it, but
you got a friend in comments, by the way, Luke.
He's a dickhead in here, Mark. I don't even know who he is. Have you seen his comments? Fuck off.
Yeah, he's just spamming it. I've put him in time.
Yeah, he's a spammer.
Put him in time.
What's he been saying?
Naughty
Just
step.
Yeah. Where was I going? Oh yeah, sorry. Pascal Struijk, 12.5 million is the rumored fee, and somebody's banned him now completely. I don't know who's done that. That's not me. That's not me, Mark.
That's not me.
I just put him in time out.
Yeah, but yeah, Pascal Struijk, thoughts on that then? 12.5 million quid. I mean, we probably could do without losing anybody else in as our vice captain. But
yeah,
that's the point. That's the point. We've got no leadership. As it is, it feels at times that we've got no leadership. He's one of two vice captains, and then we've got a skipper. So all of whom are really quite young to be taking on the mantle of captaincy for such a big club. But anyway, that aside, if we had a solid 25 to 28 man squad that we felt was ready, that also had under 21s to come in should they be needed, as we should have, because 25 man plus any under 21s is how that works. I wouldn't be upset to see Pascal go for 12.5 plus, which is what's being rumoured. I wouldn't lose any sleep over it. I think it's a championship level. He's good at this level, but I don't see him being better than this level. The problem is we can't afford to lose anyone at all. You know, I'm in the position now where I'm hoping Verba gets over an injury, and I fucking hate him. He's a rat. He called himself a warrior and pissed off at the first opportunity. And last night you could see he just did not give a shit at all.
Dick Steele made him look stupid.
He did. Imagine being done by somebody called Dick Steele. I mean,
he sounds like a porn star, doesn't he? Dick Steele. Dallas.
He looks overweight. He don't look like he cares. He's not training right. His head's not screwed on.
It looks
and
like
yet
he's
we're in a
Clarkson.
position.
He what?
Jeremy Clarkson.
Looks like he's eating Clarkson.
Ian Clarkson.
You really see the rumours that Clarkson's been sacked by or due to be sacked by his club because he turned up overweight and then he got filmed by fans in McDonald's, didn't he, or something?
Yeah. You're overweight, go lose weight. Right, I'm off to McDonald's. I mean, saying he looks like Jeremy Clarkson, you know, that's not that far away, really.
He's a weird looking fucker, isn't he? He's like a giant mole, is Voba. He looks like a giant mole.
He is a bit odd.
He looks like that meerkat from the adverts.
But we can't afford to lose anybody at all. I'm distraught.
No.
Somebody said to me about Joffrey potentially going the other way in a make weight to land somebody, and I'm thinking we can't afford to lose it. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think Joffrey's an answer to any of the questions that we are asking ourselves in terms of the starting lineup. But we need a squad. We just need players. It's just madness, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's. I mean, let's be realistic. When Jorginho goes, we've lost 4 players of our starting 11, our basic starting 11, our preferred start 11 from last season. That still failed to get promoted, by the way. It still failed to get promoted, and they were our best, certainly our best 3, plus Camara, who we've already said did a different job to anything we've got at the moment, and probably would have made a bit of a difference. We don't.
Played in 44 games. You know, he played, even if you didn't rate his output and the impact he had on games, he played in a lot of games. Especially through a period that's actually one of the best we've had ever as a club.
Yeah,
you know, that run of games from mid-January through to end of March or whatever it was, he played all in games.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's anyway. Let's talk about some more, a bit more positive. Well, you say positive, but I've just been tagged in this on Twitter. We're linked with Rabbi Matondo from Rangers. Now he's dog shit, by the way. Absolute shit. So bad that a lad that I have a bit of banter with on Twitter now and then, a Rangers fan, has just tweeted me, tagged me and saying, "Luke, here, mate, I ask you, please make this happen." He's asking us to take him.
Jesus Christ.
He's that bad. He's that bad. He's worse than what was the guy who chucked the duck?
Habibi.
Habibu. Yeah, that's it. Habibu. Yeah, that's it. He's awful. He's awful.
Chuck
I mean,
the duck.
I don't know if you've ever watched any of the, the old firm games or stuff like that. And he comes on.
I don't watch Sunday League, man.
It looks like he's won a competition to be playing for Rangers in a Scottish league. So you can imagine how bad he is.
He's like George Weah's brother coming on for Southampton, or his cousin.
That's right.
His cousin Ali Dia, wasn't it? His cousin.
Yeah.
Dia.
Graham Souness got kippered there, so he did the lunatic.
Big time.
Yeah, but yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not for me. But more on Jonathan Rowe. Is it Jonathan Rowe? Is that his name?
Yeah,
Johnny Rowe. Yeah.
It was Jamal Lowe and Johnny Rowe, wasn't it? Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
I get the four names mixed up. So yeah, I think do we expect us now that to be, if they are serious? Jay, you said this earlier. I'll come to you. Do you think we have to go in for him now? We have to go a bit of C-bomb about us and actually show that flexes muscles. But if clubs know we've got money now, are they going to then say, actually, fuck you, we're not doing it for 15 anymore, we want 18?
They might do. And then you have to decide how important is that player to you. We've put ourselves in this position. So
we haven't, though, have we, Jay?
Well, we have.
Have we? Have we?
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect anybody to pay 40 million for Rutter right now, if I'm honest with you.
No, but we could have got additions in weeks ago in other areas. We wouldn't be so light. Now we're light, and because we didn't get those additions, it looks like we don't have any decent talent. So how do you then attract decent talent? They're going to look at the squad and say, well, all the good players are gone. I can't thrive in that team. Whereas if we'd got a couple in while we had other good players, we'd look a very different proposition. And I still think
Callum is the one, me.
Yeah.
I still think Callum missing. I think letting him go on a free transfer to the Blunts was absolutely great. He's
probably won't pay him a decent wage.
No, that was it. He went for the biggest signing on fee and biggest wage, which is fair enough to him. Do you know what I mean? He's no ties to Leeds United, but
having said that, the position at Norwich has changed again somewhat because they've just made an additional £10 million off selling Ida to Celtic.
Yeah, 9.5 million.
They've now sold Sarah and Ida in the same window. They've made a lot of money in this window, and if they're not in a position where they have to sell now, not only does that mean that they're going to want to keep everybody else, and it seems that other players can keep their players when they want to, but that they're in a position where they're now stronger in negotiations because we've dragged our heels. Somebody else has now moved, making them stronger because they've now got money in the bank that they know is going to be coming.
I thought Sheffield United were going to be shit this year. They've gone and signed some really good players.
They've done really well.
Good players.
They've done and they've spent very little.
Yeah,
they've spent very little. If you look at the amount that they've spent, I mean, some of them are loans, but some of them are free transfers, and they've bought well. Because if you now look at the outlay, I think it was about 3 million. I looked on transfer market earlier. I think their outlay was about €3 million, and the value of the players that they've brought in is 17.1, and that doesn't include Raksaki from Palace.
Is he official now? Have they announced him?
I don't know if that's why he's not in there, because he doesn't appear in the list. I thought it had been announced, but it's not in the list. But the work that they've done, that goes to show, the value of the players that's come in is like 5 or 6 times the actual money that the outlay that they've spent. Now, those loans that they're making, for me, I mean, I get the point around the mandatory play time and all of that sort of stuff, and that's stuff that we shouldn't be entertaining. I do agree with Parker his position on that,
and the recall in January and that sort of
exactly, thing. Yeah. So that's difficult, but if you've been relegated for the Premier League and you can get somebody impactful on a loan, all right, you might end up in a Ben White situation where you're desperate to keep a player when you can't. But what you have done, if you get yourself promoted, is you're risk-free, aren't you? Because you don't have to pay the wages of a player that's got you promoted that might not be Premier League ready. So you're in a position there where, do you know what? You've done us a job, thank you. You've got us promoted, thank you. On your way, have a good career. And now we've got all of this money from the Premier League. They can go sign somebody to play in that position in the Premier League season instead. So there's a lot to be said for the loan market, and I think that it's probably something that we're going to explore. Let's be honest, because we're doing it on the cheap. But
is the loan market open a week longer as well than the transfer market? Or it used to be. I don't know if that's still the case.
I'm not sure. I thought it was just registering players that was the important bit.
Yeah, not sure. Just one other thing, actually, worth mentioning. But before we go on to potential more players that we are linked with, James Marshman, and I don't know if it's been released by anyone else. James was the first one I saw, so do take it with a pinch of salt. But apparently, the club have said that there is no similar release clause in Gnonto's contract. So you'd like to think that we will stand firm on that one. But I mean, thoughts on Gnonto? Do you think? If his two best mates have gone, you can't. I mean, one would like to hope we're not in a similar position where we were last season, where he throws his toys out the pram and says he don't want to play and he wants to move to fucking Everton of all places. But if there is no release clause, I expect the club to stand firm on that one.
They've got. They've let us down so much already. It's not expectation, it's hope. I don't just mean on players. No. I have got a massive axe to grind with the ownership. It's not just a player.
We've only got 50 minutes left though, Gilly. Chill out.
Yeah. So it's not just that. It is significant part of that. But they have or not. They've been in charge for 12 months. Now, I made this point earlier and somebody went, well, would you have given a new contract to Rutter at the start of last season? Well, at the start of last season or in between the seasons, absolutely not. Towards the end, after the international break or when he's having his hernia up or whenever it was clear he was an important player. When you miss out on promotion and you know that he's going to be critical, you have those conversations. If you don't agree, you don't agree, and that's all fine. What we don't know, and this is the crux of it for me, is anything. And I made this point on Twitter earlier, and I think you liked it, Luke, is we keep being told that what the ownership have convinced us is that they do their deals in secret and you only know when it's done. And they've convinced people that that's true to such an extent. People are really supremely confident that things are going on in the background with no evidence at all.
You might keep going really quiet and then loud again. I heard you.
You sound like you're in and out of dimensions.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah,
I'll make the point quick. I can't remember the point now. It's completely gone out of my head.
Vintage joke.
Anyway,
that's it. That's quick. Just because it's quiet doesn't mean there are deals ongoing. Absence of. Yeah. What's the terminology? Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence or whatever the thing is. So the greatest trick the devil pulled was convincing the world it didn't exist, all of that sort of stuff. We've got no idea what's going on.
Breaking news. Anyway, this will make a few of you happy and some few of you not.
Oh, God.
Smodic has agreed an Ipswich deal. So
for fuck's sake.
Ipswich Town have agreed in principle over the signing of Sammy Smodic, the Championship's top goal scorer last season. So that pretty much rules that out for us. Thank you for the heads up.
Playing midfield ahead of Calvin Phillips.
Yeah, good point. I was going to come on to that actually. That could have been us. That could have been us.
Before you do on Smodics, I wasn't sure I wanted him before, but now I do.
Only for numbers.
Or because we've got nobody else.
Bit of both.
Yeah.
I
never wanted him. I didn't. I think Piro's a better goal scorer than Smodics.
Yeah.
They're slightly different. They are slightly different.
No. Yeah, they are. They're different players. but just just in terms of scoring goals, before joining us, he had a much better record, and it was over 2 seasons, whereas Smodics's record over lots of seasons has been relatively poor up until last season, where, don't get me wrong, he had a dynamite season, but Blackburn built their side around him, and we're not going to do that. Or we shouldn't be in a position where we would have to do that for anybody. Now, we might now.
I was just going to say, who else are we going to build it around if we don't build it around someone like him?
Exactly. But we've already spent double figures worth of millions on Boro, and we don't play to his strengths. So what's the point in buying somebody else in terms of putting a squad around them that's going to play to their advantage? We might as well do that with Boro, haven't we? He's much better over a longer period.
Yeah. Well, statistics show that he is, obviously, with the 2 seasons he had at Swansea and the amount of goals he scored. Like, so, I know what you mean. I heard someone say at the same
level
thing.
than Smodics until Blackburn, because the only time he'd scored goals previously were in lower leagues.
Well, he did it at. I heard someone say that he did it at Peterborough, but it took him like 2 seasons before he actually did it. And then when he did it. Yeah, and then when he did it, he got his move. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he didn't do it in his first season at Oxford, and then
with Oxford in League 2, Peterborough in League 1, and then Blackburn. But I think it took 3 seasons.
I thought he was at Middlesbrough at one point, was he not?
I don't know. Hey, between us, we might. If we just name every town and city in the UK, we might get it right.
The north of England. Eventually, it hit bingo. Like
Bryn Johnson, he'd take Ryan Kent at this stage. I think.
Jesus Christ!
I think that's probably a little bit tongue in cheek.
Don't give these fuckers any ideas who are spending the money. Yeah.
How do we feel about Calvin lining up for Ipswich when? I mean, I live relatively. I mean, everybody I live near supports.
You must have had some shit over this.
Yeah, I'm getting some shit over it, man. I don't like it. It's. I don't like it. I don't like the fact he's going to be lining up in a team that is worse. That was worse than ours last season and still managed to get promoted. You know, we over the course of the season, look, they deserve to go up. There's no denying that, but we absolutely pummeled them twice.
Yeah.
It could have been us. That's what hurts me. I think it could be us signing him on loan now for this season upcoming, and what could have been. I still think Ipswich will be relegated. I think they're building a good squad for.
I hope so.
For next season,
they'll get back up again based on the squad that they're building now. That's the thinking. I think.
Yeah.
How many of those players have relegation release clauses, though?
Exactly, yeah.
It'll all be relegation and wage change rather than release clause.
They won't be sending them out on loan, that's for sure, to Germany for free and all that bollocks.
I feel sorry for Calvin, though. It's like, I've started to wonder recently whether it's playing for Leeds that he loves rather than playing football. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There is that, but then
he
clearly loves money and trophies more.
Yeah,
as
but
well.
again, that's in your heart, isn't it? Your country, like your club is. But I just don't know if he's got the passion for it if he's not playing for Leeds.
Well, do you know what? They've got a decent coach, and he's got an opportunity to show that he has now, haven't
they? They have got a good.
I mean, he had a torrid time, didn't he, when he went on loan to West Ham? But that were coming off the back of not playing at all for ages.
Yeah.
So he's got a run at a few games now. He's going to be their best player, so he's got a run at a few games now.
He'd not played for ages, and then they were expected to immediately be Calvin Phillips,
Bielsa's
Player of the Year.
Calvin, yeah.
Oh yeah, Bielsa's Calvin.
Yeah.
Gavin James, I missed this earlier. Raksaki's stalled apparently as someone has come in at the last minute. Now I know we'd said that we want a transfer or an obligation or an option to buy, didn't we? Certainly at the very least, which Palace didn't want to entertain at the time. But if we're offering a few more quid now, we've sold Rutter. Who knows? Do you know what I mean? It's quite. I know it's negative, and I know it's shit in terms of what's gone on over the last few weeks. But it is also. It does feel a little bit like champ manager season where you've got coffers full of money that you can just buy some players with. Whether or not that happens, I think whatever happens over the next couple of weeks probably determines and probably actually tells us what's going on a little bit more. If they try and plaster these gaps up with loans and cheap signings, we can probably lean towards Gilly being right and saying they're ready for selling up. They're going to net zero and then we'll be fucked.
While I were playing devil's advocate, let's just remember, it was a thought experiment more than anything else.
Yeah.
Net zero, let's get some vegan pies in.
Yeah. Do you think with that Raksaki thing coming up now is because we can potentially guarantee him game time?
Good point.
Fucking hell, yeah.
Like he likes to play down the middle. Maybe we can give him that game time now that he wants, kind of coming inside off the wing as well, like. So maybe we can give him that game time. Maybe that's why it's stalled.
The only thing I think that worries me about Raksaki, I don't know a lot about him. I don't profess to know a lot about him. I actually had a conversation with somebody the other day who pretended to know loads about him and probably knows a lot more than me. But the debate was then I call him an expert, which he said he was, and I thought, hang on a minute, go out of your house, man, and suck in some O2, old boy. Yeah, I think the Raksaki thing, the thing that puts me off is when a club is asking. It was a no-win situation for us. If he played really well, we pay £1 million, say, to loan him. He plays really well, he goes back there in January. Plays shit, we've spent £1 million on a fucking worthless loan. It just doesn't seem like.
There's no point in
that. You guaranteed game time to potentially as well.
Yeah.
So it just felt like a lose-lose situation for me, that one.
Yeah, I get that.
I think that specific one. So when I was talking about the potentials around Premier League loans or loans to get you into the Premier League, it's almost a risk-free thing. But that Raksaki one wasn't a risk-free one, was it? It was you can have this player, but if he does well and we want him back, you've lost him, and there's nothing you can do about it halfway through the season. And it'll be so disruptive to the season if he does have a good first half, to not have him in the second half. Wheels can come off for less than that. So I think there is a lot to be said for the loan market. That specific one, bad deal.
Yeah, I completely big white road, not big white, big Al, big. Hey, that was going to say Big Gay Al. It's off South Park,
I was
good. Sorry, White Rose Al. Sorry, I'm really sorry. Big Gay Al's toy shop, wasn't it? Was it a toy shop at the end?
No,
that's Big Al from Toy Story.
Oh, anyway. But the devil
Big
is
Al's
in the deal
toy barn.
That's it, yeah. The devil is in the deal for Raksaki. Blades were paying $1 million for guaranteed 6 months loan. Palace recall in Jan. Player guaranteed to play. So yeah, it's a lose-lose situation. So unless we've gone back in and suggested better terms from our perspective, then I don't know really what's happening in that. But we do need some players. So get him in for me. Fuck it. Pay £1 million. I don't care.
At this point, we've got it to burn. Fuck it. Let's do it.
Why don't you bring 40 of him in? Just bring 40 of them till January.
Let's do that, yeah.
I've found one or two rumors on I don't know, on a site there.
Hit us with your rhythm stick, Karl.
Well, it's this guy from Stoke. I don't know if anyone's heard of him. Million Manhoff.
I thought you were on about Carlton Palmer.
Yeah.
No, Carlton Palmer believes Leeds United. He'd probably do a job. Did you see him recently? He doesn't look 55
he's
at all.
Not aged, does he?
At all. At all.
You said players were over the hill at 29, and now you want to bring back 55-year-old Carlton Palmer.
Well, have you seen him? Like, he could probably do a job. He is lean as fuck. But basically, he's saying that we're attempting to strike a deal for Stoke City's Million Manhoff, with the Potters reportedly holding out for an 8-figure asking price in order to put off potential suitors. Does anybody know anything about this chap?
No,
other than the rumours that I've seen online.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of people said he's probably not worth £10 million, which is what the minimum they're going to be asking for him.
I don't think he's worth it.
Well, 8 figures suggests at least 10 million, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So,
that's it.
But no, I don't know enough about him. I'm sure there'll be people doing videos and that if any more links become a little bit more concrete. But it was one that I saw it on the other day and sort of brushed it off with a pinch of salt.
And then there's this other update on the whole.
With a name like Million Manhoff, he sounds class. By the way, it should be really good.
Yeah. I bet his YouTube is class.
The $1 million man.
Yeah.
Who was the other footballer that had a really crazy, really funny name like
Quentin Fortune?
Quentin Fortune was a good one, but there was another one, and it's escaped me. Go on, carry on. I'll remember it.
All right, and then we've got this kind of update apparently on the whole Rowe scenario. Leeds could make a move for Norwich star Jonathan Rowe in the coming weeks. We've been hearing that for ages, with their sale of midfielder Jorginho Rutter to Brighton set to go through, with Ben Jacobs exclusively telling Give Me Sport that the Whites' potential move for the winger could be one to watch.
I'm disappointed in you, Karl.
Why? Because I pronounced everything
Because that's a
correctly there.
bullshit article. Leeds could make a move.
I just thought, fuck
player
it,
they've
like,
been linked
you know.
with in the next few weeks.
Yeah, but they fucking.
You're spreading the bullshit for him.
What did you fucking supply?
Yeah, he's bringing more to the table than you in that haircut.
Oh, fuck did you supply, motherfucker? Cut that fucking thing off when I see you next.
I bring the colour.
Yeah, you do indeed, yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
Those of you who have just joined, I've seen the numbers creep up a little bit. These hats, we are going to be running a competition on your head, bruv. So do follow us on Twitter, smash a like and subscribe, and you'll see how you can win one of these. Quite smart.
Yeah, quite smart. Doesn't fit on your head with your headphones, mind, but it is
if
quite
I take my
smart.
headphones off, I can't hear anything. Right,
Windast was always quite a funny name.
Windast, yeah, no, it was something to do. It was something like Precious or something like that.
Yeah, do you know, I had Precious in my head, and I think that's a singer, but I do know what you're talking about, and I can't think. Now there was a Danny Invincible, which is pretty cool.
That is a cool.
That's almost like Max Power or Max Steel, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or Dick Steel.
Anyway, next
time. Fabulous. Was there a Fabulous?
Oh, it might have been Fabulous. Yeah.
Fabulous something, maybe. Fabulous.
Right.
It was Fabulous something.
And Danny Shitu is always funny when you're a kid, isn't it?
Always a favourite.
Yeah.
Oh, Marcus is coming. Quincy Promise. That's another good one.
Quincy Promise.
Oh, yeah.
Marcus came up with Shitu as well. Give us your funny names in the comments.
Obviously.
Marvelous Nakamba. That's a great one.
Marvelous. That's the one I was thinking of, not Precious at all. And obviously David Seaman.
Do you think his brother's called Fantastic Nakamba?
That's actually not a bad shout.
Cool. Shall we go to a few comments, ladies and gentlemen?
I think so. Yeah, we're an hour in, so yeah, go for it.
We've had a lot of them. We've had a lot of them come in. I know we've started one or two. Give Richard Hogan good evening, Rich. Gilly, you are far too happy after the lady 24 hours. Last, I'm guessing.
Last.
Oh, probably, yeah.
I thought
this time 24 hours ago, and I was in Ellen Road and I was fuming.
I thought you'd gone out in drag again.
Actually, at this time, we were just kicking off second half, weren't we? At this time, I were all right. He were fine. I was laughing at Smarty and Rutter trying to fit on chairs next to each other, like kids at an infant school. Like parents at an infant school. Even trying to fit on them tiny little chairs.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we're not allowed to talk about infant schools with Jay's haircut.
Yeah.
Says the man with a stenciled head.
Cillian McDonough says, lads, you're getting 2004 vibes with all the best players being flogged. Does it feel like that?
Yeah.
Does it feel like flash sale?
Yeah.
It feels like, when it 2006 we lost the playoffs and then got relegated next season?
Yeah.
Yes, to Watford, won it in 2006.
And Cardiff.
And then got relegated to League One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously not because we lost the playoffs, but
no, I think that's because we lost the playoff final. Yeah. And what did we do last season?
Jay's gone all Jack Harrison. I bet you wish you were a few quid behind Jack Harrison.
I do, mate, and
a few inches
behind,
and a few stone.
Yeah, a lot.
So basically, just behind Jack Harrison, you want to be
pretty much, yeah. Looking at his ass and his little ponytail. I've got one of them.
Hannah, I never knew this was your son. Is this American, Hannah?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
American Hannah's in the comments.
All right. Welcome, Hannah Bone. HMS. That's a great name, by the way, Hannah Bone. HMS shit the bed.
Yeah. Very much.
That's what's happening.
On board. Mark Wright said Matondo allow a link to signing. Yeah, we've seen that. Hannah said, do you think Fark made... Good point. We didn't really talk about this during the game, but do you think he made so many changes to make a point to the 49ers? If you don't invest now, we'll be fucked by Boro and the like.
Maybe.
Boro made 7 changes last night. We made 8. So
I think maybe... Is she talking more about the subs? Maybe.
No, I don't think
all
so.
All 5 at the same time going, this is what I have to play around with.
No, I don't think so.
I think it's just changes. If we talk, I mean, it did occur to me, but the other side to things is, did he make all of those changes not necessarily to make a point, but because he has to protect his starting 11 because there's very little behind it.
I think that.
Yeah.
And it's just on paper that should have still been a competitive team. For me, last night it was entirely tactical.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I've noted from the 2 games this season is when he's made changes, he's made a lot of changes at once, and we've conceded immediately afterwards. So we conceded a penalty at the weekend, and then we conceded last night almost immediately when the 5 players had gone. Conceded again.
They scored just before and then just after it.
It's very difficult for a team to, they don't know the pace of the game to come on and expect for him to pick that up immediately. You're asking a lot. You are asking.
And I think somebody took a note over. It might have been over to Rothwell after the changes had been made, but it was after we'd conceded again after the changes had been made. So they were still trying to sort out what were happening in the lineup and who were playing where after we'd conceded. So
what did it
you
say?
Are right.
Tell Aronson his shit.
He already knows.
I did enjoy when he ran the ball out of play, by the way, on the left side when he received a pass. And he had space in front of him. He was setting off. For some reason, he couldn't not run it over the line.
You enjoyed that, you sick man.
Oh, I loved it, mate. I loved it. It's the only way to get joy out of watching Leeds now.
Yeah, cool. Moving on then. Scooby D2, as usual, our pressure and possession deceives us. It's bluff and bluster that comes to note. Can't even be asked to shoot in the box. There was a lot of that last night. But I don't think that last night wasn't a performance similar to the weekend. I thought the weekend we played quite well, other than defensively and everything else. We created a lot of the weekend with Rutter and who's no longer here, with Willie Gnonto, Dan James, and Matteo Joseph. The starting lineup, we looked all right. I mean, we drew the game 3-0. We probably could have won it 4-3 on another day, but that starting lineup, that doesn't worry me. I don't think this season. I think last night and the fact that we created very little against a very average Middlesbrough side, well drilled by that scum bastard. Yeah. But they weren't a great side. They sat back and they invited out in pressure. And this is something I mentioned about pre-season. We didn't have that test in pre-season to play against a team. Everyone was just free-flowing, all the teams we played, and we beat them comfortably because nobody was sitting back, absorbing pressure, and then playing us on the counter. It was too easy. Pre-season didn't work for us. For me, we won every game, but we didn't play anybody that for the likeness that we're going to expect to play this season, where 80% of this league are going to sit back and invite pressure and do us on the counter. We didn't have any practice in that. So
I think you might have mentioned that before, man. It's a good point as well. You made as well, yeah. So
Benny Joe does not agree
with me.
Well, that's the latest comment. That is absolutely garbage. So
do you think we started the season a bit complacent because we did so well in pre-season and it were all hyped up?
That's down to coaching if that's the case.
Ultimately. I just think we
could have blown them away at first 20 minutes. You know, we could conceive by the time we scored our first goal, we could conceivably have been 4 up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I know.
So we had more than enough to win that game, and the 4-3 and Aronson and the entire goal gaping at him, ready for him to just rewrite history for this season, and he choked. Absolutely, 100%.
Are we in a position where we could go on, Jay?
The fact of the matter is that it should never have come down to the last kick, should it?
No. Are we in a position then now where Farker can't win if he makes too many changes or changes too early? Last season, he was pretty much flattened by the fan base for not making enough changes or certainly changes soon enough. Or is it a case that the changes that we've got to make this season just aren't having the impact that we expected they should have?
He can win if we win. If we win the game, he's not going to be criticised, and if we don't, whatever he does now, he's going to be criticised for.
Yeah. He can't win. He can't win, can he? It's a what's it called? I don't know.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
That's something like that. Right, moving on. Let's move on slowly. Smarty says, just because the 49ers stumped up the cash for Rutter doesn't mean they negotiate the contract and the small print. That's on
bullshit. Bullshit. You're giving them the. Why would we? Why would we give them credit at this point in time? If they financed it and didn't look at the terms of the deals, that's on them. If they financed it and did see the terms of the deals, that's on them. If they've had 12 months after the deals to be able to make a difference, that's on them. So they might not have been the controlling party at that time, but they have been the controlling party. Why would we even talk about giving them any credit for it?
To be fair, though, you can't make a player renegotiate a contract if you don't want to, can you? You can't just get rid of release clauses and.
No, you can't. But if they were actually engaging with the fans and telling them what's going on, what they could do is come out and say, "Look, this player's left. We were in a position where he had an element to his contract that we'd attempted to overcome." Now, some people, cynics among others, might go, "Do you know what? I don't even believe them." But at least then they're engaging with the fans to say, "Look, we were aware of this. This happened before our time. We've tried to rectify it and been unable to." At least then, you can just go, "Do you know what? Line under it. Let's move on." Whereas now it's like, because the worst thing is they've tried to do it after the fact. Why have they tried to do it after the fact? Because surely you've either already tried and they just weren't willing to come to the table or whatever, or you haven't tried at all. So now you're going, "Oh shit, it's been triggered right before it. Now we've got to do something." And that's the point for me. Is if they'd already tried, they wouldn't have been saying they're going to try now.
No, I get you. And it's like when you hand in your notice somewhere and they say, "Oh shit, we don't want to lose you," and they try and offer you more money. It's like, well, if you thought I was worth that before, yeah, it's a bit like that. Yeah, I do get that.
Cool. Let's move on. Nick says all the transfer fees are paid over 3-4 seasons, so we probably only received about 30 million upfront cash for great. No, that's not true.
No, there was
Simply
terms. I think as far as like, yeah, there was
not
terms
true.
with Spurs.
It had to be cashed in it.
Fees can be paid in installments, but that tends to be included in any releases. They're only included. They're only shown as installments for the team, just for financing purposes. They're not necessarily paid in installments.
Yeah,
here's a question for you.
Regardless of the actual terms, I think people get mixed up between PSR and the actual money coming into the club. Because
amortization isn't necessarily installments, is what you're trying to say, isn't it?
Well, amortization is a reduction of the value of the asset over time, but from a profit and sustainability regulation perspective, you book the value at the point at which they are signed. That's not necessarily when you get all the money.
Bryn seems to think they're played up front.
They're on footy manager. It's the only way you can get the deal accepted. So
which obviously is real life, so 100%.
It was to Victor Orta.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you, though, quickly. Just a devil's advocate sort of question. One for you, Gilly. So, Archie, when he went, his release clause was pretty decent, wasn't it? And he signed a new deal under the 49ers, so they did negotiate that one, and they put a decent release clause in his. Does that not make you think maybe they didn't have a hand in the others?
Who knows at this point? Now, but my problem is, if they didn't, they should have. So he doesn't.
Marath was already on the board. The guy who does these in his sleep. He was on the board at the time,
in his sleep. So if they didn't get involved in the detail and they were paying for the player, that's still on them. They're still culpable for that.
Agreed.
Fair enough.
Agreed. Debs has said, if you wear your full kit on Saturday and take your boots, you're on the bench. We're that short at the minute. Debs, I don't know what you're fantasizing about us for wearing boots and full kits, but you do you. Nigel, do we really want him? I think he's talking about Lowe here, which I kind of agree because we've had it done to us. Do you really want somebody who's already refused to play for their parent club? Do we want that type of person? Because when Marath did that, whatever you want to call him, when he did that initial conversation after failing promotion at Wembley, he said that we want a certain type of characteristic, a side before self player. Does that scream side before self to you in the immediate?
No, it doesn't.
It's a great point.
It doesn't. I think that
we need players.
We do need players, and there is that element of is there a little bit of doubt because we're not 100% sure whether he was left out and encouraged not to be part of the squad or whether he refused, and there's contrasting views as to whether it was driven by him, driven by his agent, or driven by the club. I don't know if you're going to get him in and he's going to play. Do most players? I know Rutter is a candidate that could have not played last night and opted to be part of the matchday squad, and I appreciate that even if he's gone now. But at the same time, that's outside the norm, isn't it? So are most players going to do this? We've had it done to us so many times. It's not just a couple of times. It's so many times. You go back to Chris Wood, refused to play. Charlie Taylor refused to play. Sick Note 6 refused to play. Now, we all hate them, but if they go on to have successful careers at other clubs, do those other clubs even care?
And we do always say we want people to prove they want to play for Leeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Moving on. What about Benson? Gavin James said, I've seen something about this. There was a rumor again. I think we were linked with him actually last.
What you talking about, Willis?
What you talking about? We were linked with him. I think it was in January. Yeah. No, it's Manuel Benson, isn't it? He's a player. He plays for Burnley, I think. Look, bring him in.
He Burnley's like 5th or 6th choice though.
But he's a handy player, Belgian lad. He does look quite good.
Hey, Kevin De Bruyne or Mourinho's 5th choice ones.
Well, I think he played. He played last season. Was it the season before? It might have been the season before. He played a hell of a lot in their promotion season, I think it was, and he had a fair few goals and assists. I think he might have been
Jaden Anthony did Bournemouth.
Yeah. I think he might be. I'd have Jaden Anthony back. I think he's the right type of player.
I would take him back now. I would
give him a chance. Give him a chance.
Yeah,
give him a chance because give him playing time. I thought
he knows the club.
Yeah, give him.
I'd be underwhelmed.
Knows the manager.
I'd be underwhelmed, but I'd obviously give him a chance.
Yeah.
Debs from the comments has just sent me something. More bad news. Lucas the Cock Catch triggers £10 million release clause and is now in negotiations with London Zoo.
At least go to Chester Zoo so we can still see you.
Yeah. Lee Oxley says, hope you're well. Yes, I am very well. Thank you. Hope you're well. Lee. Nige says, does anyone notice Bamford laughing and chatting too early during the second half? Yeah, they're mates.
Yeah, they're mates.
Yeah, come on. They've known each other for fucking the best part of 8 years.
I saw somebody upset about this on Twitter. I was just like, mates. Yeah.
About it.
It's not because you don't give a shit. It's because your mates next to you and you're just like, oh, yeah, you're all right, mate. Or you're taking piss out of each other or something.
And it's not like he fucked us off. We binned him. We not sure.
Yeah.
And they were very respectful last night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't do an ailing flop either, which was great.
He walked very slowly because he didn't want to be part of those celebrations in front of himself.
He took a yellow though, didn't he, to break up one of our attacks?
Yeah.
But all the best to him. Do you know what? We decided he wasn't good enough for us. Fuck it. He was a good enough servant. And look, I'm not that arsed about going on the cup. It's the manner we went out in at home and conceding 6 goals in 2 games at home against 2 relatively shit sides is what concerns me. And that takes me on to this next. Takes on to my next point about last year's 2 points actually. Both include Ampadu. Steve Brown says the defense last year was.
I'm going to say I've started 2 together. If you want to talk about them.
He needs to go back to centre back for me. He's spending a lot of game time there, so he drops in, doesn't it? And Michael Gott says he's too deep, isolating other midfielders, leaving lots of space for the opposition to run at. Now, I think Ampadu does only drop deep when we've got the ball. He's not too deep when we've got the ball, and it looks as if he's going to be the deeper of the 2 midfielders, but we knew that anyway. But what he's creating is a big gap between himself when he comes in at centre-back to pick the ball up and any other midfielder, because he only had Rothwell in front of him last night and then Pirro in front of him, who was even further forward. Now, to play the ball centrally, you've got very little. It's quite apparent where we're going. Ampadu's got the ball here at the centre back. He's got nothing in front of him, and then he's got 2 centre backs either side of him, and then your wing backs or your full backs who are then moved into him. We're almost too easy to. And great points by Michael and Steve, because we are too predictable, I think.
I agree. I fully
agree.
agree.
We concede every time that we lose the ball on an attack. It's just too much.
Yeah,
it's too easy.
I think in terms of the shape, though, I think Ampadu's dropping to allow the fullbacks to get forward. But although that means, because look at Firpo, look at Bogle. Their strengths are moving forward. There's no getting away from that. That is their strengths. They are there to get forward and add width and add emphasis to the attack. Great, and that's fine. And actually, one of the best times we've ever seen as a collective Leeds United playing was with overlapping fullbacks that were getting to the byline and they were crossing to the other fullback under Bielsa. You know, it were brilliant and it were amazing to watch, and they were able to cut you back, whatever else. I think that's by design, but the problem is nobody is compressing that central area. So if you don't win that ball, or if it ends up getting knocked long because we've knocked it around, then there's a press, it goes back to the Darlow as it was last night, gets lumped forward, they win it. They're just running, streaming straight through midfield and they're straight on top of us. So, but I think that's actually by design, and Farke's got to find a way to get the fullbacks forward without creating that massive vacuum in midfield. And as you say, 2 good points made in comment.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah. Cole, let's move on to our one of certainly my favourite part of the week, but just because I get to hear Bren's lovely voice, and we'll go and we'll do a bit of this.
Hey, has got a shit tick this week, my little spat of fact.
So yes, shit take of the week. I don't know if did any of you guys pick up any of it? And I mean, there's plenty to choose from over the last week or two, plenty. But my winner was actually this one, and it's escaped me. There it is. So yeah, my shit take of the week was this from at JN Leeds 23. This was following the draw. Sorry. At home, he said he would rather have lost than Aronson score Little Rat. So that had 281,000 views. 281,000 views, and then the first response: support another club than you.
See you next Tuesday.
Any in mind? And I think the response to that was you sound a bit more like a scummer. So I can't see much beating that other than the other shit that was going on. That is a pretty bad shit taking it, boys. Let's be honest.
So that one was mine. I did have that in my bookmarks because I just opened my bookmarks, so I'd forgotten and I'd not uploaded it. But that was the one that I bookmarked. I did bookmark one other one. That it's not really a shit take. It is a bookmark for me to go back to. But
you're going to bring it out now.
Vinny says, "Why the fuck does our backward fan base think Mateo Joseph is the second coming of Christ? Bamford starts when fit. Thank God Farke makes the decisions." As part of that, we have then ended up with Jason saying that if he bags 20 league goals this season, he's going to get his face tattooed on his arse. I've kept the receipts.
Who's that? Bamford?
Joseph.
Joseph could be close.
He will.
Why would you be willing to get tattooed on your forehead, Luke?
Nothing.
I've kept the receipts, so I will be revisiting that with Jason at the end of the season if he gets there. I've got screenshots, not just bookmarks, so he deactivates again. I've still got him.
Mike Rice is going to see Shrek as the shit take of the week.
I mean, if you'd gone without your little girls, I'd be all over that. But I think as a family man, taking the kids to see what they want to see, I think that's okay.
Yeah. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. Right, we better talk a little bit about just before we do. When we finish tonight, don't worry. We've got to redirect onto Joe's final word, so you don't need to go anywhere. Don't need to press anything. It'll take you straight over, and you can go watch Joe. We haven't got much longer left to talk anyway. We're not going to bore you much longer. Talk a little bit about West Brom.
Just to answer this question from Alan.
9.5 million.
Audits is going for. I think he's going to play football.
Oh God!
Have you seen them? Have you seen them new Italian guys?
It's going to drive tractors.
Has anybody seen those 3 Italian guys that go around and they do this viral video where one of them whistles really loud and makes somebody jump, and then this guy comes in with a cigarette and just goes, ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
I'll try and find one. It's fucking class.
He did a high five with a girl at the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and the guy just went
there. Yeah.
Yeah,
but they do it all over. It's quite funny, the Italian fellas. Anyway, moving on to West Brom then. How do we line up then? I mean, obviously we're going to drop Rutter out of the lineup. Who comes in for Rutter then? Is it Pirro or Aronson for you guys? That's probably going to be the main sticking point, main question, because I can't see any other changes.
Pirro.
From from Portsmouth rather than from Middlesbrough. I'm hoping you don't see any changes.
Sorry, yeah, from Portsmouth.
Yeah, I think I would start Pirot out of the two. I don't think either of them are necessarily the answer, but out of the two of them, I would start Pirot.
Yeah,
See,
I
I
think
disagree.
that's the obvious one.
I'm putting Aronson in.
I'm putting Aronson
In the 10.
Yeah. Might as well get something out of him.
But we don't.
Give him a chance. Give him a couple of games.
I think that is his position. I think that
if he's still losing ball. I know, but there's got to be something there, surely. And we're desperate now.
I think he could do a job in that.
Poll up there. Who starts in the 10? Aronson, Pirot. I haven't put other. You got to pick one of them. I'm afraid.
What do you say, Karl?
That's all we've got to pick from.
I think it's a good show putting him in the 10.
I think so.
Again,
he can't keep ball inside.
See, it's the other thing is as well. If you're playing Gnonto on one side, you can swap him over and back and play Gnonto down the middle as well, because essentially Gnonto is a striker that we bought. He's just been playing out wide, so you could always change them two around in the middle.
And who do you play out wide then, Karl?
You put Aronson out wide when you swap him around with Gnonto. Just a bit of rotation, and then James on the other side. A bit of rotation, man. If it's not working in the middle for Aronson, he can always go out in the wing and put Gnonto inside, because Gnonto is a very central.
Always go out in stand.
We could do that too, you know what I mean. But I'm just trying to look at you're saying play Aronson. I'm trying to say right, okay, just
I did not say Aronson.
No, I'm not saying. Sorry, the two boys over here on this side, I just think but if he can, alternate between the middle and a wide position, so why not play him? Why not play him in there and let Gnonto and him swap around a bit?
I think with natural wingers in Gnonto and Dan James, and Aronson central on his own, with in front of Rothwell, with Rothwell and Ampadu behind him. I think and a proper striker in Mateo Joseph in front of him. I think it's not a bad shout. Pirot's shown that he can't do it. He's shown us time and time and again that he cannot do it. He had a couple of good runs last season. But he cannot play that 10 spot. He's too big. He's he turns on it takes him about 6 hours to do a 3-point turn. It's worse than a Scania truck. So I think Aronson is our only option for me.
I get that. I get that.
We won't get the output we got from Rutter. We won't get that, and the expectation needs to be that. Not to expect that.
He won't be though.
We'll be beating 3 players. No.
It's just depressing.
Maybe
it's
start
just depressing. It's depressing. I'm not going to get to see that trickery anymore. He just does stuff, and it's like, wow.
You can always look in the mirror, Jay. Your hair.
All right, stencil head. Fuck off. It's going to take away from the match day experience for me now. I love seeing Georgie play. He's a great part of the team. You all right there, pal?
No, I don't think he is.
Swallow the dog toy.
No, look, it is going to be absolutely wounding that we're not going to get to see Rutter beating 3 players and then shooting into the top tier of the East Stand.
Hey, he was getting better. He was getting better.
Yeah.
I'll miss him a lot. He was probably my favourite player in the squad.
He got the assist on Saturday, did, but who scored the goal? Mark Wright. Who scored the goal? Aronson. He assisted for Aronson.
Yeah. Oh, Pirot did. Yeah, okay.
Pirot, yeah.
Like you talk about Rutter.
For me, Pirot now is the backup for Joseph, and Bamford's in the bin. We don't see him ever again.
I think the one thing I would say is Bamford's legs last night. For all of his failings in front of goal, he just didn't look at it, and that might be fitness. I know that he was nursing this injury and he couldn't take full part of pre-season and what have you, but the biggest part of his game was his ability to occupy pretty much an entire defence and be mobile and be quick. And if he loses that sharpness and that quickness, that's so much of his game. And I think that, we've talked about him being effective for the team, even if he's not as effective in front of goal as we'd like him to be. If he loses that, then a lot of him being an option from the bench is gone.
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't know what Bryn's saying here when I'm actually being negative about Bamford and I've got to get off his cock. Now, just because Bryn hates all of the players that play for Leeds does not mean that anybody that doesn't hate them fully is doing anything like that.
I think, and let's just really quickly just go around the houses, and I'm just going to ask you, how many players do you think we need to sign in the next just over 2 weeks? And just to not name players, but the positions we need to strengthen before the end of this window. And I'll start with Gilly because I know he's got a lot to get off his chest.
I think based on the fact that what I just said about Bamford, I think we need a 9. We definitely need a 10, and we've needed a 10 for ages. We need an 8, somebody that can carry the ball, that can pass the ball, pick the passes. I don't think we need a defensive midfielder unless we're going to play Ampadu in Stroik's place because he's not good enough. So I don't think we necessarily need a centre-back unless Verber's going, but I would like to see a centre-back and I would like Verber to go. So that I think I'm out to 4. We definitely need at least 1 full-back because we've got, 2 left-backs if you include Byram as a left-back.
Or
and
2 right-backs.
Or 2 right-backs. It'd be great if we can get somebody that's adaptable to go to both. I think that what we really need is those capable of starting and another 4 capable of being effective from the bench. I don't think we're going to get that by any stretch, but I think to have a successful season, that's what we would need.
5.
8.
8?
Bloody hell. Bryn wants 7 to 9 as well.
Karl, I'm going to come to somebody a little bit more sensible than Gilly, hopefully.
I said we weren't going to get that. I said I think that's what we need to be successful.
Karl looks bewildered.
I think, I was going to go 5 to 6 maybe. I think that'd be a realistic amount. I think left back, another midfielder, potentially 10 winger, and maybe another 8 as kind of cover there for Rothwell and the boys in the middle. Just get in.
Yeah, fullback 8, 10 winger.
Yeah,
fullback 8, 10 winger. I think we need at least 4 good players.
I agree with you
as well.
For me, it's the 4 that are bare minimum that we need.
Oh, they're minimum, yeah.
5 would be ideal.
Yeah, Gilly's not wrong saying 7 to 8, but at a minimum, we need 4 to 5, maybe 6.
Capable of starting.
I want to see this
starting, and I want another 4 in the squad.
I want to see. I want to see us sign 3 players, 2 or 3 players, full permanent players, and then I want to see 1 or 2 good loans, as healthy loans as well. Over the next 2 weeks. Not a lot of work to do. They've only had 5 weeks head start on last season.
Yeah.
Obviously, a centre back if Stroik goes as well, which I forgot about. So if Verber goes and Stroik goes,
like for anybody else.
Yeah.
Who do we think we are? Chelsea, Paul says. Who do we think we are? Chelsea. Right, one last thing to do, Gilly. Wrap us up. Can you with any AMC stuff, mate?
Actually, first off, what we need to do is very quickly a little bit of this.
No better predictions.
They better forgot about that.
Now. And you've got your poll, Luke.
I'll just take yours. Unfortunately, yes, I am going to have to ask you to tell me what you think it's going to be at the weekend.
You can start. You finished top last year.
Ooh.
I did. I'm not top. We're all drawing, but okay, that's fair enough. I think we're going to get beat 2-1. Luke?
I'll go 2-2.
Oh, yeah.
Karl?
Oh, yeah.
Same. Andy Aylor put it in for the fans first there. He put 2-2. That was exactly what I was going to put. I think Joseph to get a brace and us to just fluke it.
Right. So, sorry, just to make sure I've got all of that right. That was Luke and Karl and the fans have all gone Desmond.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who were it in the fans?
Andy Aylor.
And Jay.
I was going to go 2-2, but everyone else has done it, so I'm going to go 3-1 Leeds and say, fuck it, just pull something wild out of there.
I was going to go a score draw, but I'm going to go away win.
I just want something different.
There's
no logic
way
to it.
off
I pulled it out of the sky.
Yeah.
I'm not even pretending that's a calculated decision.
Fair enough.
That is-
I'm going to put
yeah.
some out on the socials in terms of the people that got involved in this time. We have extended the invite out to other podcasters and friends of the show. The one person that picked up points from the weekend was Big Lou, formerly of LS11, who did go for a draw and got himself 3 points.
The absolute bastard. He's going to do that every week.
Dick, man.
So yeah, last but not leastly, our little nod to our friends at. Have we got that ready, Gilly? Have we got it? Have we got the information?
Yeah. Hang on.
At But while he's doing that, please do like and subscribe if you are new here.
Yeah.
Because it helps us.
Do it.
The like apparently helps with the
Pushing us up the algorithm.
The algorithm.
algorithms.
Yeah.
And
it makes us feel better.
We're very technical on this podcast.
How many
So we
subscribers
know
for you
it
to
all.
chop that off live, Jay? That top knot.
Yeah.
About 6 million, and they don't have to give me a quid.
Did all have to give me a quid? What a jammy prick.
Right, very quickly.
go on.
Running club on Wednesday evenings meet at 5:45 for 6. Sorry, this is the Andy's Man Club update. Running club on Wednesday evenings meet at 5:45 for a 6 p.m. start. Meet at 5 ways at the Recovery Academy on Westfield Road in Woodhouse. Pool night is tomorrow night, Friday the 16th, 6:30 to 8:30. They've now got a sponsor for that, so it is now free to attend. They're on tables 17 and 18 upstairs. So that's at the Northern Snooker Centre on Kirkstall Road, so get yourself down there. And there is a walk taking place on the 15th of September. They're going to be walking 7 miles in honour of Rob Boro around Roundy and Moortown in the shape of a rhino. They're going to be meeting at Roundy Park Gates on Princes Avenue at 10:30 a.m. for an 11 a.m. start. Please feel free to join them in celebration of a hero.
Bring your own booze.
Yes.
And the poll results are also in the chat now as well. Aronson got 65% and Perot 34%. Somehow they've lost 1%. So, so yeah, that probably just sums up our season so far. But, yeah, we will be back. We'll play Saturday lunchtime kickoff. So I'm not sure who's on Brad and Coke this weekend, but we'll probably be back either Saturday evening or Sunday morning. As I say, please do give us a like, subscribe. Do keep an eye on the socials. We'll have that bucket hat, how you can win it, how it'll be picked as well. Going to one of you lucky winners. Thank you ever so much for everybody that's joined in. Thank you to you three for joining me on this lovely Thursday evening. Get over to Joe now and give it a bit of an OKB Wu-Tang Clan raid for us so he knows where you've come from. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again at the weekend and then again probably next week. Cheers.
Take care.
Cheers all.